Today we're going to take a look at Eddie Redmayne, who starred in the fantastic piece And Where to Find Them. This is Eddie as a baby, and first of all, I do notice that they're covering one eye here, and this could just be an incidental photo, or it could be that they're taking this photo sort of on parental instruction, given that the Illuminati and the all-seeing eye, the one eye, are very symbolic in their realm. One thing interesting about Eddie is that he went to Eton, and there are a few other British actors who attended Eton. It's also where the royal family tend to send their children. And what better place would there be for a young girl to be taught all the behaviour of a boy than an all-boys boarding school? Sense the smallness in the shoulders, the smallness in the chest. Sense how the body is smaller up here and then becomes larger lower down. They also seem to be doing an inconspicuous throwing of the devil horns, with these two fingers being more extended. Large bee-stung lips. The mouth is actually quite wide, which is not common on females. There is some development in the Adam's apple. This can be caused by taking testosterone. The facial structure is quite slight, quite a gap between the nose and the mouth, in this shot at least, but taking testosterone will extend the lower part of the face. The forehead is large and rounded. They may have a receding hairline, which is often caused by taking testosterone. Doesn't seem to be much going on in the neck in this shot. The features appear quite small and delicate. The energy in the eyes does not strike me as male. There is a distinct energy that's different between males and females. Irrespective of all other traits, all other personality traits, all other life experiences, you can sense so much about a person through their eyes. But underlying that all, there's a spiritual energy which is male or female. And with practice, people can learn to discern this. The jaw curves rather than is square and farther back. This is more common on females. The chin isn't particularly strong. There's not much of a brow ridge. The nose is quite small and delicate. And Eddie was notably in The Danish Girl, a film about a transgender MTF. Note the smallness of the shoulders, curving of the clavicle. Normally males will have a straighter clavicle. Again, note the curving of the jawline. Males' jaws tend to angle at a different point than females do. See the slope of the shoulders. There are some males with sloping shoulders, but it's quite uncommon. Typically females are the ones with more sloping shoulders. The neck doesn't look particularly long here, actually. The head, as is often seen on FTMs, appears a little bit too large because the shoulders are small, as seen on a female. What we notably have is rounded hips that come in from a high point above the navel. This is where the hips continue to expand, and they come all the way to a female Q angle. The legs angle inward at the thigh to the knee. Crotch level appears to be more to the hand than the wrist, which is more typically seen on females. Again, the collarbones are angled. There appears to be just quite a generally soft appearance to this person. Look how small the chest is, how small the shoulders and the chest are. Above the navel is where the indentation points are. And the hips are considerably wider, or the mass is lower down on the person. The full width of the hips is hidden a little bit by the coat here, but sense the width of the pelvis. See, we can sense where the legs are coming from. The thigh bones is actually wider apart. There's a lot of space here, a lot of space that could be used for carrying a child, and enough space to give birth to a child. This is definitely a female pelvis. Look at this person's angled collarbones, their sloping shoulders, the softness of their body. This looks like a prepubescent female, with body hair caused by testosterone. See the indentation points above the navel, the wide, curvy hips. These are not the shoulders of a man. This looks like a prepubescent female that's taken testosterone. Testosterone can cause the nose to elongate, it can cause the growth of body hair, it can cause the growth of the Adam's apple over several years, changes facial structure, can help brow ridge development, can help cheekbones grow larger, can help the face elongate. See how the legs angle inward from pelvis down to the knee. It's a female acute Q angle. Again, the rounded forehead. Forehead shapes do differ depending on the population, but from this person's population, they should probably have more of a sloping forehead, and the round forehead like this is much more feminine. Again, where is the mass of the person? The mass of the person is in the hips and the thighs. They're wearing the trousers too low. This is a common FTM trick, so they can disguise the full extent of the female Q angle and make the torso appear longer, as with the natural male. This person appears to be quite slim, yet there seems to be some kind of drooping and bunching of the chest, which is not like the natural squarish, strong shape of male pectorals. This is unnatural. Curving of the shoulders. The arms tend to angle outward from the shoulder. This is to make room for wider female hips. Now this person is particularly good at the FTM walk to disguise the acute Q-angular female. What this involves is swaying from one side to the other while walking, pulling one hip more forward, angling the knees and toes outward when walking to disguise the natural gait of a female. Again, where is all the mass of the person? It's right here in the hips. Shoulders are small in comparison, the chest is small, head looks too large, neck looks too short for a male. Again, look what they're doing. The toes on both feet are angled far outward. When real males walk, some of them do tend to angle the toes outward, but they don't also angle the knees extremely outward. They don't do it to the same extent that FTMs have to do to disguise their female Q angle. While they're walking, they'll push back one hip and swing the other one out to the side and sort of skate around, and this is to disguise their natural female gait and Q angle. Males don't have to do this, and it would be very uncomfortable to do it. This person is pretty good at not forgetting to do this when they sense they're having their photograph taken. Again, the sloping shoulders, the small chest, the large hips, the receding hairline. This is their significant other, who appears to be an MTF transgender. Again, look what Eddie's doing. The knees are angled outward, the toes are angled outward, stepping up and to the side, pushing this leg backward. Very unnatural skating gait. And as for this one, they're attempting to do the MTF catwalk, which is the opposite of the FTM skating walk. They do this, they pass the knees one in front of the other, point the toes, and step 1 foot more in front of the other, because that's how females naturally walk. If Eddie forgets his gait for a moment, then we have the female gait, with feet more one in front of the other, the arms angling outward. The MTF here has very veiny arms, a lot of development in the trachea, a thick neck, an extremely strong jaw. The torso is very long in this person. You can sense there's a lot of mass up here compared to lower down. On the FTMs and MTFs, they often select them from different bloodlines. The FTMs are often selected from taller bloodlines, from thinner bloodlines, and with some of them they give them human growth hormone to make them taller as well. This makes them more convincing to the general public as males. For MTFs, they often select men from shorter stock, and so when they pair them together, they look more convincing. Here, you can tell the estrogen has worked on this person alright. The fat has been redistributed to the hips. And this is the thing, hormones, they change the flesh. Testosterone can help males develop body hair and more traits of the skull, and they can help them develop more musculature, whereas on females, on MTFs, if they take estrogen, it will help distribute their fat in a more female pattern. Results do vary. What it doesn't change is the core skeletal structure related to the ability or lack of ability to bear children. This is determined by the Y chromosome or the lack of the Y chromosome. If you have only X chromosomes, your body knows you are capable of becoming pregnant, and your body has to develop that structure according to your DNA. It's what's programming your bone growth. If you're a male, having a female skeletal structure would be unfavorable. You will then lack the stability and strength and sturdiness of a typical male, and in competition against other males, you will be inadequate. This looks to be a biological female and this a biological male. Since the slope of this person's shoulders, the squareness of this person's shoulders, shortness of this person's neck, longness of this one. This person's legs are quite short. This person's legs appear to be a bit longer, though the trousers again are worn low to disguise the female physique. Eddie's usually pretty good about doing the FTM walk, but when you can find all these shots where they are distracted or they don't notice that someone's taking their photograph and they slip up with this female gait, then you can sense that they're attempting to conceal something with the way they're moving. People who don't have something to conceal will not attempt to conceal something. It's as simple as that. Look at this. Have you ever seen a man walking with his knees and toes pointed this far outward, and his alternate leg pushed this far backward, his hip turned to the side? Do you see men walk like this? I don't. Men don't walk like this. The shoulders are definitely not wider than the hips. All the mass is down here, low on the person. As for this person, look at all the development in the trachea. Look at the energy in the person's eyes. Look at the massive width of the jaw. And look, when this person neglects to do the MTF catwalk, what do we have? We have perfectly straight legs with a male side-by-side gait. What we have on these legs is fat from estrogen use. The actual skeletal structure, since where the pelvis is, since where the bones are coming down, it's very straight at bone level. The hulk of the person, the mass is up here. Look what Eddie is inconspicuously doing with his hands too. curving forehead, maybe a little bit of a brow ridge, probably caused by the testosterone use. This certainly isn't the kind of brow we would typically see a brow ridge on. Again, look where the jaw curves, it's farther forward, there's a smoothness here. There's a chin to neck slope more commonly seen on females. Females have higher levels of subcutaneous body fat than males do. This is just biology. Look at the thickness of this person's forearms, sinewy veins. Look at the smoothness of this person's forearms. They're all rounded and slender. This is very female. Sense the poise in each person, the way they carry themselves. This one seems to radiate more of a masculine energy. This one seems to be much more subdued, more feminine. Sense the softness in this person again. The high point of the waist. Continual curve down to the hips here. When a woman stands with her legs farther apart, then you won't be able to measure the female acute Q angle as easily. Likewise, if a man stands with his knees crossed, his ankles crossed like this, it will make the Q angle appear more female. When they also have fat going to the hips that wouldn't be otherwise, they appear more convincing. Again, pay attention to what they're doing with the gait, if it looks natural, if it looks contrived. Look at the wide pelvis here. Look at how the mass of the body is not up here. We've got the sloping shoulders, the head that looks too large for the sloping shoulders, small chest, body that expands outward all the way to this wide pelvis, the arms that angle outward. Look at the strength of this other person's shoulders and their neck, the powerful jaw. Again, it's the fat. It's the fat from the estrogen that makes the legs look like they have more of a Q angle, as well as the contrived MTF catwalk, the gait. Sense how the hips are too low. The waist is very low. The hips are too low. Female hips, as on this person, begin higher up. Again, look at this, the square, broad shoulders of this person, the low waist of this person, long arms that hang on this person. Then on this person, all the mass down here. Look how round these hips are. This person isn't a chubby person. On some males, if they have too much estrogen in their system, which can be caused by too many phytoestrogens or plant estrogens, for example, if you eat a lot of soy products, or if you drink a lot of beer, it's possible for men to develop some more female fat distribution. It's because of the hormones, it's because of the estrogens. So it can cause men to have development in the chest and the hips. But on this person, they're not fat, they're not chubby. This is a very slender person. At bone level is where the curves of this person lie, which indicates this person is female. Again, the low waist of the woman, the high waist of the man. This looks like a corset-trained waist. It's far too low. See how the elbow is above the whole waist? On a female, the elbow should fit into the waist, or if she's bending her arm, it may appear to be a little bit below the waist, sort of touching the hip bone. Sense the energy in these two people. Even if you don't believe in energy, just look at them and see what you feel when you look between their faces. For me, this person's energy is very projected and much more masculine, much more piercing. This person's energy is very mild, a gentle glow in this person, a radiant burn in this person. This one has a more kind of delicate appearance to the skin, kind of dewy look to them. This person's jaw is square and strong. There's a large gap between the nose and the mouth is wide, the eyes are quite wide set. Here, look at the jutting bone in the shoulders. I've never seen this on a biological female, and I haven't seen it on every biological male, but it does appear to be on a lot of males. Again, the arms of this person hang straight down, whereas on this one we know they angle out from the shoulders. This person's mass is all in the hips. Who's got the longer neck? Who's got the more prominent bone structure? It's the one that says that she's female. Absolutely a male jaw. There's no way a female has this jaw. Look at this one, the curving jaw, the pointed chin. This person does have quite a wide mouth and dental arch. It's possible for females to have large mouths. Thick neck, square shoulders, sloping shoulders, small upper body. Males have larger upper bodies because they are designed for upper body strength. Females have larger lower bodies, designed for childbearing. Again, look, this person's arms appear to be very long. This is very male. Long neck, long arms, broad shoulders, more mass in the upper part of the body, wide jaw. This person has a very clear female energy here. That's a female glow. Wide hips. The mass is all down here. And if you put Eddie next to Emma Watson, which energy feels more masculine? This is a very gentle female appearance. This feeling is very masculine and projected. Even though Emma's shorter than Eddie, even though Emma has a pretty face. If you haven't seen my video on Emma, I'd invite you to view that as well. This is Eddie with his family, and as I've said in many videos, this is done in generational androgyny cults. It's not the choice of the children for this to be done to them, because When they're presented to the public, we see photos of them from early childhood where they're presented as the gender that they claim to be. And yet when they develop, they have the wrong skeletal structure for the gender they present as. This is an indication that they have been transgendered, and they couldn't have possibly chosen this when they were a baby or before they were even born. So it's clearly done in androgyny caused by the parents, who likely had the same thing done to them. It's always possible that the people we see who are famous now, their parents could have been the first generation in an androgyny cult, and thus they were raised as the first generation of inverts. It's worth looking at the parents and the siblings of these people. I will say, mother appears to have quite a long ring finger, again quite a large dental arch, quite a large nose, quite a broad facial structure, does appear to have more of a side-by-side gait. The father appears to be the one that has some extra weight on. This can happen on natural males when they get older though. It's possible these parents could be the gender they present as, but what's for sure is that Eddie is not. Again, look at this skating walk, pushing one hip, the father hip, back hip, out to the side, angling the knee and toe on that foot out to the side. And the one that goes forward is angled out to the side. The high waist, the small rib cage, the sloping shoulders, the wide hips, this is a female, and the wife is a male, with the opposite skeletal traits to Eddie. Again, with the parents, it does look like the father has the shorter arms, the smaller shoulders, smaller upper body, the rounder lower body. It looks like the mother has a male gait with wide shoulders. It could be that these are another pair of inverts, and that's why we have the son, who's also inverted. Look at that female waist, you can sense this female body so clearly. Another FTM trick is putting the hands in the pockets, so that when people glance they're distracted from the width of the pelvis, or they think they only look that wide because of the hands in the pockets. Father's doing it too. Eddie with his mother. Feel free to make your own judgments. Another thing that FTMs typically do is kind of hunch the back and slouch forward. This then makes the spinal arch of the female less pronounced and noticeable. But what you can see here is that there's a tilt to the body. This is seen on females because they have the pelvic tilt. The rear sticks out farther on females. Again, this person just appears to be generally quite soft, even though they're slim. Again, tilt to the body. Look at the shape of the lower legs. There's a gradual curve all the way down to the ankle, which is commonly seen on females because we have a higher level of subcutaneous body fat than males do. Again, because of the MTF catwalk and because of the estrogen changing the fat distribution of this person, the legs do look like they have more of a curve, but this person is not female. Again, Eddie's hands are in the pockets. Look at the smoothness of the joints. This is much more of a female appearance. Look, when the wife is not doing the MTF catwalk, we have the fat on the hips and thighs because of the estrogen. We also have very straight legs with a side-by-side stride, the long neck, the square jaw, very masculine looking hands on this person, very masculine looking neck, very masculine looking jaw. Look at the shoulders, sense how the fat looks unnatural at the sides here, and see where the shoulder joints are, compare them to the bones in here. They're not as wide as the shoulders, they're narrower. Again, the trousers appear to be worn quite low on this person. Again, the round forehead, much more feminine. Looks like we may have a female digit ratio. Again, the digit ratio is not a 100% thing. Again, the awkward FTM tilt, caused by the female spine and the female pelvic tilt. Again, what are they doing with the toes, with the knees? Where is the mass? The mass is down low, it's not up high as it should be on a male. Again, the hunched back, slouching forward to try and disguise the female spinal arch. Even here, look what you can see. See how the toe is pointing out to the other side. You can sense from every angle this looks like a very, very unnatural gait for a male. Again, hunching forward, everything pointed outward while walking. Again, the width of these hips, the small waist, the wide hips, the arms, because of the back that's slouched, they're a little bit in front of the hips here, so we don't see the arm angling out of the shoulder. You only see this if someone has proper posture. Again, look at how small the shoulders are. A male will typically have space for 3 skull widths on their shoulders. This person doesn't. It's more female, more like 2.5 or 2 3/4. Again, sense the tilt to the body. Sense the height of the waist, the smallness of the upper body. Same thing here. Gap here, you can sense there's too much curve up high. And this is commonly seen on FTMs, lighting up when with children. Females have a natural nurturing energy that comes out with children. It's a mothering instinct, and FTMs have it because they're biological females. Together with Benedict Cumberbatch, another person with some interesting looking parents, and who also went to an elite public boarding school for boys. Look at the eyes. Do you sense any piercing masculine energy here? Because I don't. Delicate looking skin. This person's pointed chin. The curve of the jaw is much more female. The face has close spaced features, much more female. Someone made a comparison of just the posing of these two people. Again, another person who went to such a school as Benedict Cumberbatch and Eddie Redmayne, and these people all seem to get along quite well. Again, look at Eddie's sloping shoulders, the short neck, the feminine energy, again the curving forehead. There's something about the features that just gives off a sense of imbalance, which can be seen sometimes when people take hormones and then their faces develop differently to what they would originally be like. It's a case of the features not quite matching the skull. Again, look at how far the hairline appears to be receding. Sometimes the young males will have this happen. I believe it's due to the excess of chemical pollution and hormones in our environment, but it's also a known effect of taking testosterone. This is a strange pose. There was a similar pose Kit Harington did I covered it in my second Game of Thrones video. And if an FTM leans back like this, then it effectively disguises their female spinal arch. It's a very unnatural pose. It doesn't indicate the actual shape of the body, and why they're doing this is to disguise that arch. Since, again, the tilt of the body, they have that female tilt because of the shape of the spine and the shape of the pelvis, which can be sensed here. Now, every female has a different degree of a spinal arch. On some females it's not very prominent, and it will become more visible once she's pregnant, because the structure of the spinal arch is for pregnancy. It's similar to a suspension bridge. Suspend the weight of the fetus at the front of the body, and when you do that, the back that curves inward from up here and from here, they'll both pull into the center to distribute the weight of the fetus over the spine. On females who may have less of a spinal arch naturally, when they're not pregnant, and especially if they were transgendered prepubescently, and have been taking male hormones for a long time, then they can build up the back muscles and it can disguise the spinal arch to a certain degree. But since the curve in this person's body, you can see this curve at the front, this curve at the back, and the muscles are built up here, but the spine is curving all the way from up here down to here where we have that high waist, and it curves back outward. That is a female spinal arch. Again, look at the delicate angled collarbones, much more female, sloping shoulders, the high waist indentation points, the wide pelvis, small upper body. The arms appear to be short. Again, the rounded forehead. There are some males who have somewhat more flat foreheads, just like I've seen some females who have slightly more sloped foreheads. But generally you don't see males with such a round forehead. Roundness is generally more female. Again, look at the curving back, the high waist. This person really is good at the walk they do. If you get the wrong shot, if you don't pay attention and look at a lot of photos, you could be deceived by this person. From a shot like this, you might think this is just a natural male. As always, I encourage people to research for yourself. Look at the person in motion, look at lots of photos of them. Pay attention to the energy you get from them as well. Pay attention to this. Are they doing this awkward walk, pushing one hip farther backward, skating and swaying around, pointing all of their joints outward? This must be very uncomfortable for a natural female. Again, the arms naturally swing out to make space for the wider hips. Again, knees are closer together, feet closer together. If they mess up for even one stride, then you see more of the natural female gait. Again, the mass is down here, it's not up here in the chest and the shoulders. The legs look long, waist is high, mass is all down here in the hips. Trousers are worn very low again, but we can sense the female Q angle, the wideness of the female pelvis. Look how unnatural this is. Males don't do this when they walk. This looks almost like this person is riding a bicycle at the moment that this photo is taken. The knees are pointed so far outward, the toes. This is to disguise the female Q angle, to disguise the female gait. Many of the FTMs know this trick. This is not how males move. Males move with the knees pointed more forward, usually the toes pointed more forward, sometimes the toes pointed a little outward, but they don't push back one hip, skate around, point all their joints outward like this. This looks extremely unnatural. Again, the upper body is small. We have a small female ribcage. Males have larger ribcages to allow for greater oxygen intake, to allow for greater athleticism. Females' primary biological design is childbearing, which is what we need this wide pelvis for. What do you feel when you look in their face, when you look in their eyes? What do you feel? I've never ever seen a man that looks like this. In terms of pure energy, this person is female. And in terms of skeletal structure, as we've already analysed, this person is also female. Again, the round forehead, barely any brow ridge, and just the energy, so overwhelmingly female. The beard growth really doesn't appear to be that convincing. It's quite, sparse, and as is often seen on FTMs, it doesn't appear to be quite as coarse as on natural males. Skin quality, again, looks very feminine. I will also point out that statistics-wise, there are more females who have green eyes than males. In this shot here, the face doesn't appear as gaunt as in the previous one. This one is more photoshopped, so they may have done this intentionally. Also, when modelling, most models know to suck in their cheeks a little bit. That's the look. But in any case, this person has a tilt to the body, they have a curve to the spine, they have a female Q angle, they have a wide pelvis, they have a small ribcage and upper body. This person's skeletal structure is female. Therefore, Eddie Redmayne is an FTM transgender. And that's that.
He's just the best. I acted with Eddie. Eddie was a big star. He was a big star even then. Wow. It was an all-boys school.
Yeah.
And he was so good and so innocent-looking that he tended to play some of the girls' parts.
No kidding.